You might hear that Russia is an inexpensive place to live, especially when you compare it to Europe or America. But how much is this inexpensive in terms of grocery shopping? Before guiding you to my local supermarket, I want to give you more context so you can judge the prices better. I live in St. Petersburg. It's the second largest city in Russia. The average monthly wage after tax is about 50,000 rubles here, which is 1,300 American dollars per year. The minimum wage here is 20,000 rubles per month, or $3,300 per year. There are many supermarket chains for people of different wealth. Someone who earns much less than average usually shops at Dixie. People with income slightly below average get their groceries at Magnit or Peterochka. I usually go to Перекресток, which targets people with income slightly above average. Sometimes I also visit Вкусвилл, which is a chain with healthy foods with prices above average. And there's Азбука Вкуса, a supermarket with premium goods that targets people with income much above average. I only go there for getting snacks for my higher Patreon tier supporters. Now, when you have some context, let's go to Перекресток and see how much the food costs here. Bread is essential for most of Russians. When I was a kid, we bought it from local bread factories. It was the same in every store. But now all big supermarkets have their own bakeries. In the mornings you actually can smell the aroma of freshly baked bread. My personal favorites are these tiny buns and ciabatta with olives. Sometimes I also get these hamburger buns and such pita bread. Next to bread, there's a lot of sweet stuff. It's not expensive and many people tend to get something sweet back home almost every single day. I don't really eat sweets, but when I do, I often choose these Stroop waffles. They are simply the best. We often have sweets with such instant coffee, which isn't a cheap thing in Russia. But recently I transferred to ground coffee and prepare it in an Italian pot or in Turkish way. And if I drink bagged tea, it's usually this one. Now the real food, fruits and vegetables. The most common fruits for Russians are apples, bananas and oranges. We have lots of watermelons by the end of summer, so it's already off season and they are getting expensive. Two most common vegetables are tomatoes and cucumbers, very cheap in the summer and getting 4 or 5 times more expensive in the winter. We also like bell peppers, we actually call it Bulgarian pepper. Of course, potatoes, it's another essential thing here. Carrot is cheap as well as normal onions, and the purple ones are more expensive. And before Halloween I started seeing more pumpkins in the stores. Good meat is quite expensive in Russia. My personal favorite is chicken fillet because it's so easy to cook it. I also like getting beef, but that's more expensive. Sometimes I buy beef steaks from Miratorg, that's one of the biggest Russian beef suppliers. And seldom I get such sausages, I simply don't know which are the good ones. Russia also produces a lot of fish. We have something cheap, something more expensive, and something really expensive. Not every supermarket even sells good caviar, and when they do, they tend to protect every can of fish eggs like this. They aren't doing it for chicken eggs yet, but maybe will do one day, it's getting much more expensive recently. Another big thing in Russia is processed food. You can find long aisles of frozen foods in every supermarket. Meat dumplings, pelmeni, is something what I always keep at my freezer. Sometimes I get dumplings, and I never get blini, prefer cooking it myself. Canned food is something I also get quite often. Olives, pickles, sweet corn and green peas. For a side dish I usually buy spaghetti. This is Italian brand, but this pack is made in Russia. Buckwheat is a common thing here, but I never get it, don't like the taste, and it's expensive for no reason. I often get rice, quick out meals and muesli. Mayonnaise and ketchup are two most common sauces for Russians. People even mix them and call it ketchunes, but I like none of them. The typical vegetable oil is sunflower seed oil. I used to buy this one before, but now I use olive oil more often. We think it's healthier. This is my favorite milk in Russia, the отборное, fat milk, and toplёное, the
baked milk. Each of these bottles cost $1 American, and I believe milk is something that we drink in every country. If you watched me till this moment, leave a comment about how much the milk cost in your country. I think that will be really interesting to compare it around the world.
I love dairy products, so do the rest of Russians. I often get tvarog, which is something like farmer's cheese, and sour cream. I also like yogurts. This I often have for breakfast, and this is more like a dessert. And this is a real dessert, Russian plombyr. Only one bad thing about it, you can't really understand how much does it cost. Such a mess. Now the drinks. Vodka is popular in Russia, but it's not the most popular alcoholic beverage here. The most popular is beer. Russian beer is cheap, and imported beer is 2-3 times more expensive. We have lots of local and imported wine. Here's my favorite Georgian Kings Marauli and my favorite Italian champagne. As for the soft drinks, cola and Pepsi are popular here, but I never buy it. There's also Russian soda, which surprised me to be more expensive than cola, but anyways, I prefer drinking juices. It's time to grocery shop for myself and then show all what I've got and the amount of money I spent. I'm just back from Petersburg and here's all the stuff I got today. Let me show you, and before I show you the last piece, I dare you to guess how much I paid for all this stuff. Here's what I got: a pack of eggs, rice, a pack of oatmeal, which is enough for 6 tiny breakfasts, a liter of baked milk, a pack of Starbucks ground coffee, a little bit of bread, my favorite waffles, some tomatoes, bananas, and a pack of sour cream. And all of this cost me 1,200 rubles, and I'm really curious to see what was your initial guess.